They laughed when we begged for peace. They mocked when we stayed quiet. But the day humanity stood up from the galactic table was the day silence became fear. No ships left Earth. No threats were spoken. But one by one, their fleets vanished. Because we weren't negotiating anymore. We were hunting. You wanted us gone. So we left. But not alone. We took your future with us. The chamber of the Galactic Concord was dead quiet as the final votes were cast. The obsidian table, long and curved like a predator's jaw, pulsed with blue light. One by one, species with names older than Earth's continents confirmed Resolution 733. The screen blinked, unanimous, save one. Helena Viril, Earth's ambassador, didn't move. Ambassador, rasped high-voiced Tarluin of the Varn Dominion, all 12 of his tendrils gesturing with mock sympathy. Surely you recognize the Council's will. Helena remained still. Her gaze swept the chamber, 100 representatives from every corner of the stars, and not one made eye contact. They all remembered how humans had risen. How fast. How dangerous. How unpredictable. A rustle. Senator Quarry of the English Hive buzzed low. This is not punitive. It is preventative. You humans possess a tendency toward escalation. We have seen the footage. You mean the footage you manipulated? Helena said quietly. Let us not play victim, grunted Praetor Selvax of the Outer Core. You joined this table. You will accept its rule. Helena rose. The sound of her chair scraping across the polished stone rang like gunfire in the chamber. She reached into her coat and removed a small golden emblem, the seal of Earth's unity. She placed it at the center of the table. We sat here in good faith. We restrained ourselves because we believed in unity, she said. But restraint mistaken for weakness always invites arrogance. She turned to leave. Is this your resignation? Selvax sneered. Are you fleeing like the primitives you are? No, Helena said without looking back. This is the moment you made extinction inevitable. She walked out. Her security followed. The door sealed with a finality that made the walls feel colder. In orbit above Trivanx 9, Earth's delegation ship blinked out of sight, jumping to Sol. No goodbye. No message. Just silence. Across the galaxy, Terran embassies shuttered overnight. Human colonies went dark. Every satellite, server, and transit node with Terran code went offline in synchronized unison. On dozens of worlds, alien technicians stared at black screens and frozen systems they didn't understand. The silence wasn't passive. It was surgical. By the second day, panic bloomed behind closed doors. The Concord's logistical systems began to fail. Hundreds of trade routes had relied on human routing protocols. Hospitals couldn't access their diagnostics. Energy grids flickered. AI systems, once stabilized by Terran software, began to degrade. Then came the missing fleet. Admiral Cole Tremes's squadron had been en route to monitor Sol's space. A routine patrol. 57 capital ships. Gone. Not destroyed. Not exploded. Gone. Black box fragments recovered from a nearby system showed nothing but static. One transmission squeaked through on a damaged frequency. It's inside. Then silence. At the emergency Concord session, delegates shouted over one another. This is retaliation. They're sabotaging infrastructure. No. This is preparation. They planned this. They were building a counter-network right under our sensors. We never should have let them into the table. Tarluin slammed his claws against the podium. This is absurd. Earth's withdrawal is a tantrum, nothing more. Their worlds will starve. Their trade will die. Let them rot in isolation. But no world starved. No colonies collapsed. Earth didn't just go dark. It went invisible. By the fourth day, the Concord's primary financial node on Lysor 5 reported unauthorized algorithmic infiltration. A virus rewrote debt ledgers galaxy-wide. All debts owed by humans were erased. Debts owed to humans tripled, enforced by autonomous asset locks backed by ancient AI subroutines only Terran systems could decode. "What is this?" hissed Quarry. "Warfare?" "No," whispered a junior analyst in the room. "This is economic genocide." Back in the chamber, Selvax paced with rising fury. "They think they can manipulate us with digital tricks? The Concord stands on star steel, not code. Dispatch the fleets. Seal off the Terran systems. No ship in, no ship out. If they want war, we will give it to them." They launched the campaign an hour later, Operation Iron Veil. 100,000 vessels converged on Sol, the largest unified force in history. And then, nothing. No target. Sol was gone. Not just shielded. Not cloaked. Gone. Sensor ghosts mimicked its position, but every skin returned void. Drones disappeared. Probes returned mutilated, their data loops corrupted with a repeating audio file in Terran English. "We do not retreat. We reposition." The Concord ordered another sweep. Entire fleets entered pre-charted Terran space. No resistance. No contact. Until the screams began. From the bridge of the Gore-class dreadnought Crucible's end, Commander Rux recorded his last transmission. "They're in the hull. Not boarding, phasing. I don't know what tech this is. They're not human anymore." Black. In a matter of days, 30% of the deployed fleet vanished. The Council's final effort was desperation. A tactical think tank of 12 elite strategists compiled a contingency plan: isolate, destabilize, then contain. No direct engagement. Just suppression. The plan never launched. Why? Because by the time it was ready, every member of that think tank had already defected. Or been replaced. By humans. It wasn't sabotage. It was infiltration. "Gods," whispered the head of Galactic Intelligence. "They didn't walk away because they were angry." "Then why?" someone asked. "They walked away because they'd already won." On the 7th day, a transmission appeared across every functioning Concord channel. Helena Viral. Same neutral tone. No makeup. No emblems. Just her face, standing before a backdrop of stars. "For a century, we tolerated condescension. Mockery. Sabotage. We stayed patient because we believed coexistence was possible. But you never wanted unity. You wanted control. Now you have none." She paused. "You fear that we've declared war. We haven't. War implies parity. This is a correction. We no longer sit at your table. We are the storm outside your walls. And we are done knocking." Transmission ends. Galactic silence. Then, far worse, Terran silence. And for the first time in recorded history, the galaxy began to pray. Not for victory. But that Earth might never speak again. The 5th day after Earth's withdrawal, the Galactic Concord activated Crisis Protocol 17A. Every species with military capability was to consolidate and prepare for a possible Terran incursion. But there was no war front. No target. Just a terrifying vacuum where Earth had once stood. Reports flooded in. Commerce guilds couldn't contact Terran traders. Blackstone Nexus, one of the galaxy's oldest banking systems, filed for insolvency after losing access to the Terran encryption network that secured 60% of its off-world reserves. On Arcus 3, hospital systems collapsed. Their medical nanotech was built on Earth's base code. Now, it wouldn't even boot. Admiral Kreth of the Zarnax Dominion demanded answers. Their departure should have weakened them. Where are their pleas for aid? Their broken colonies? Their economic collapse? High-voiced Tarluin answered flatly. There are no pleas. They have not spoken once. Not even a whisper. The words chilled the chamber. Then came the breach report. A patrol fleet of 30 cruisers had been dispatched to the Helios fringe. Their mission: secure the boundary between Terran exit zones and Concord space. They didn't make it. Their last transmission lasted 2 seconds. We see shadows in the silence. No wreckage. No SOS. Just sudden, perfect absence. Wormhole distortion? Someone suggested. No, muttered one technician. This wasn't distortion. This was surgical. Praetor Selvax pounded his claws on the council podium. Send another fleet. Larger. Armed. Scout the Terran border. But the first fleet never even reported fire. Quarry of the Hive hissed. Then we send one that can shoot faster. Admiral Kelzer of the Trell Ascendancy organized Operation Star Bastion, a multi-species strike formation with over 300 vessels. Their mission was clear: approach the Terran periphery, deploy sensor arrays, and return with intelligence. Nothing aggressive. Just reconnaissance. The fleet jumped in. And vanished. A day passed. Then two. Then a courier ship, scarred and limping, exited FTL over Almoran Prime and crash-landed near the capital. One pilot survived. What remained of him? Skin blistered. Eyes burned shut. Claws missing? But alive. His voice was hoarse when they questioned him. They didn't attack us, he whispered. Then what happened? They were already there. In our systems. In our minds. We entered their shadow, and it consumed the light. He died minutes later. Analysis of the ship's data logs revealed only one coherent phrase, repeated in digital echo. We warned you not to follow. The Concorde's panic went from political to existential. In the following hours, 23 minor species signed emergency pacts with Earth's known allies, desperate to prove their loyalty. But Earth didn't respond. Their allies received no confirmation. Just silence. An independent freighter, Spear of Varen, attempted to dock with a former Terran relay station near the edge of the Kepler Divide. The station had been abandoned for 5 days. Its transponder was dead. No signals. No life readings. The freighter docked manually. 6 crew entered. What they found were dozens of alien corpses, from species that had voted for Resolution 733. Their bodies were stacked neatly in the calm's bay. Every single one had their eyes removed. A single message was etched into the wall in charred plasma script. You chose blindness. We helped. By week's end, 6 major trade guilds collapsed. Hundreds of colonies erupted in chaos. Entire galactic sectors that had come to rely on Terran logistics, tech, or quiet diplomacy now found themselves leaderless. One by one, suppressed rebel factions began to rise. The enslaved Aquari broke containment on Pharaoh's 9. The Outer Rim syndicates announced independence. The Draco clans, once shattered, reunified under a single banner marked with a human phrase. Leave none above. Every rebellion traced back to covert drops of advanced human weaponry and data caches. No humans were seen. But the footprints were unmistakable, encoded in languages known only to Earth's military archives. Selvax fumed behind closed doors. They're destabilizing everything. Collapsing us from within. Where is their fleet? Where are their damned ships? They don't need ships, muttered Tarluin. They've weaponized our own order against us. Selvax laughed bitterly. Order? There is no order. There is only the Terran ghost. A silent vote was held. The Concorde authorized the use of Omega protocols, off-the-record cyber weapons banned since the Charik collapse. Viral constructs. Memory erasers. Stellar disruptors. Weapons meant to unmake systems. But the Concorde's core intelligence servers went dark before the first code was compiled. A lone message flashed across the primary council datasphere. We invented half your weapons. The other half we've already disabled. Then the system self-purged. No records. No backups. Just another silence. In the halls of the Concorde, fear became ritual. New meetings were held without data systems. Paper. Spoken word. Security protocols moved backward, not forward. The most advanced civilization in the galaxy had been forced to operate as primitives just to avoid digital compromise. Ambassadors began resigning. Species withdrew their votes. No one wanted to be near the table when Earth returned. The galaxy had seen countless wars, countless empires rise and fall. But it had never seen a war like this. A war waged with absence. One by one, the empires built on conquest and arrogance began to understand the truth. They had never broken Earth. Earth had simply waited. Waited for the moment they could leave, and not come back. Not as guests. Not as equals. Not as friends. Only as the thing you fear in the dark. The Concord issued a blackout on Earth-related incidents. No media, no broadcasts, no civilian speculation. But fear doesn't require permission. Rumors surged like wildfire across the stars. The phrase, Terran Phantom War, emerged, passed in whispers, coded into graffiti, etched into prison walls. Every unexplained outage, every vanished ship, every malfunctioning AI was blamed on humans, whether they were involved or not. Then came the first undeniable strike. A classified Concord data fortress orbiting the gas giant Marion was breached. No alarms, no breaches logged. Security footage showed nothing, until every screen in the station blinked once, and every officer collapsed where they stood. Their neural implants had been remotely detonated. On the mainframe, a single file remained. This is a warning. The next message will be written in orbit. Selvax held an emergency summit. Only half the delegates attended. The rest were either dead, missing, or too afraid to travel. He slammed his claw into the podium. Cowards! Where is our strength? We outnumber them. We outgun them. They are one world, one system. We are a galaxy. We're, murmured Tarluin. What? Tarluin met his eyes. We were a galaxy. Before they walked away. Then we dragged them back. Selvax snarled. Screaming. The Concord authorized Operation Final Lock, a multi-stage incursion into Terran sectors using cloaked Black Ops teams. Hundreds of the most advanced warriors were inserted into human alliance systems. Within hours, all went silent. 7 days later, every operative was returned. Not in body bags, but alive. And broken. Their ships were placed in geostationary orbit around Concord capital worlds, each vessel spinning slowly, its hull covered in scorched glyphs, some Terran, some alien. All were symbols of failure. The operatives on board were silent, drooling, unresponsive. Medical scans showed something worse than brain damage. Their minds had been rewritten. Patterns of memory replaced with sequences designed to broadcast one phrase when scanned. We are inside the walls. Panic turned into disarray. Civil unrest erupted. Civilizations began forming. Neutrality pacts, begging Earth not to target them. But no human ambassador arrived. No answer came. Earth wasn't demanding loyalty. It wasn't speaking at all. That's when the Shadow Fleet appeared. Thousands of ships blinked into existence around Concord border systems. Not in formation. Not in assault. Just there, floating. They bore no flags, no signatures. Just mad black holes etched with orbital scars and microscopic Terran language. Surveillance probes captured glimpses of strange weaponry, gravity lensing cannons, chronometric interference panels, AI cores that broadcast nothing. The fleets didn't move. They just watched. Selvax screamed in fury. Why don't they strike? Because they already have, said Quarry. We just haven't realized what they took. Concord's strategic command collapsed that night. Their central data core, once hidden beneath 20 kilometers of shielded crust, was vaporized by a spatial inversion pulse, a weapon Earth had never been known to possess. The core didn't explode. It was folded into itself. The message arrived seconds later. We are not fighting you. We are erasing your capacity to fight. 36 Concord worlds revolted the next day. Minor species, once bound by treaties, overthrew their governors, destroyed comm towers, and painted their skies with human slogans. One phrase became universal. No more tables. It was on this tide of chaos that Earth sent its first transmission. A single voice. Helena Viral. Your fleets float. Your empires crumble. And still you ask why? Because you believed power was permanent, that your order was eternal, that a seat at your table was the apex of civilization. But you forgot who you invited. You invited the ones who climbed out of gravity's cradle by sheer will, who turned their own extinction into evolution, who learned peace only after mastering war. You feared our rage, but you should have feared our patience. We watched. We learned. And now we act. Not as diplomats. Not as conquerors. But as something you never saw coming. The future. The message ended. But one last signal pulsed from it. Coordinates. The planet Trion 6, capital of the Concord Judiciary, exploded 36 hours later in full public view. The detonation wasn't nuclear or kinetic. It was quantum collapse, initiated from within the planet's crust. A type of weapon no Concord scientist understood. There was no retaliation. Because there was nothing to retaliate against. Earth's fleets never fired. Its soldiers never marched. But everywhere the Terran shadow touched, the galaxy fell apart. Not because Earth demanded control, because Earth removed its support. It had been holding the stars together, and no one realized. Until now. Selvax called a final war council. Only 20 seats were filled. This cannot continue, he growled. We must offer terms. Something. A deal. What could we offer? Someone asked. Selvax stood silent. In a final desperate move, the Concord authorized the creation of a universal distress signal, directed at Earth's last known diplomatic channel. It said, "We surrender. Please speak with us." They waited. No answer. Only silence. Until a final return ping. No words. No voice. Just data. Inside the packet was a blueprint. A table. Shattered in half. At its base, a single Terran phrase. "We were never your guests." The Concord's final weapon was desperation. The High Seat approved the deployment of the Leviathan Protocol, 30 dreadnoughts, each armed with experimental Starcrackers. They were to strike Earth's last known allies and systems suspected of human influence. No declarations. No restraint. The command, sterilized the shadows. They never reached the launch point. 27 dreadnoughts vanished from local space within an hour of activation. The remaining 3 limped into orbit above the moon Geras. Their systems powered down mid-flight. Pilots found their limbs numb, unable to scream. Their internal feeds all replayed one message on loop. "We are not at war with your ships. We are at war with your certainty." Selvax watched in silence from the observation deck of Trivanx Prime. Around him, the military council unraveled. Strategic command had ceased functioning. Planetary governors now operated independently. Communications blacked out at random, sometimes in mid-sentence. One officer tried to resign. Selvax shot him in the chest without blinking. "You will not run from this," he said coldly. A siren screamed. High-orbit satellites caught an object entering the system. It wasn't a fleet. It wasn't even a ship. It was a box. A black cube the size of a city, floating silently. It bore no propulsion, no signal, no heat signature. Every Concord weapon system locked onto it. Nothing happened. Then the cube cracked open. A transmission pulsed. "The table was a prison. Now comes the sentence." The sky over Trivanx split in 4. Black light, not darkness but negative presence, lanced across orbit. Starcrackers detonate prematurely. Defense shields inverted. Every capital ship crumpled inward as if folded by unseen hands. Trivanx Prime's orbital grid burned, collapsed, and fell, raining molten debris across the equator. The Concord's final stronghold turned into ash in 9 minutes. From the flames, sleek Terran ships emerged. Not thousands. Dozens. And that was enough. They didn't fire unless fired upon. But when provoked, their response was clinical. No wasted shots. No showmanship. Just precision. One Concorde cruiser attempted to escape. It made it 900 kilometers before vanishing from all records. On the planet's surface, Pretor Selvax addressed his emergency command bunker. We hold the ground. We are not animals to be hunted. His voice was met with silence. Report! Is anyone listening? The comm station melted before he finished speaking. Above, Earth's command ship, Vindicator 1, activated an orbital transmission. For the first time, a face appeared. Admiral Cadian, Earth's former military strategist. A man once laughed out of the Concorde for being obsessed with defense. He smiled without humor. For 100 years, you defined us as barbarians with tools. We watched you conquer, manipulate, enslave, and we took notes. You thought our silence was compliance. It was measurement. You voted to disarm us. You forgot that everything we gave you, navigation code, security AI, shield harmonics, was built by us. You were never in control. You were in a simulation of it. Now the simulation ends. Cadian lifted his hand. You took our fleets. We built better ones. You took our voice. We built shadows. You took our future. So we took your now. A single signal beamed. Trivanx's core destabilized instantly. No explosions. No debris. Just implosion. The surface caved in, swallowed by gravity-fold bombs seeded centuries ago. The capital vanished into a singularity the size of a pinhole. The rest of the planet followed. Admiral Cadian cut the transmission. One Terran ship remained in orbit, broadcasting 3 words across open space. No more warnings! Back in the Concorde's temporary council hall, survivors watched in silence. Galaxies away, entire species received the same message. Some wept. Some cheered. Some prepared to run. But no one spoke of victory. The word now was compliance. Helena Viril returned to broadcast the next day. We warned you. We asked for peace. You laughed. We came with hands open. You clipped our fingers. We sat at your table, ate your lies, and swallowed them long enough to learn how to destroy your kitchen. Now we build something new. No council. No Concorde. No empire. Only a future that you can either stand in, or be buried beneath. Her eyes hardened. You wanted to regulate humanity. You wanted to contain us. But you never understood what we were. You thought we were a species. We are a response. To your arrogance. To your history. To your collapse. She leaned forward. Pray we never decide to become an empire. The screen cut. The message was clear. Humanity had not only walked away from the table. They had set it on fire. 3 weeks after Trivanx vanished from star charts, no new declarations were made, no human fleets appeared, and no statements were issued. But the galaxy had already changed. Entire empires dissolved without resistance. Species once terrified of rebellion now declared sovereignty under banners written in Earth standard. The Concorde no longer met. Its surviving members had scattered to isolated strongholds, most without command structures or infrastructure. Their enemies hadn't invaded. Their allies hadn't defected. What destroyed them was silence. A vacuum where humanity used to be. Helena Viril stepped once more into the light. Her image was not broadcast through Concorde channels but hijacked directly into every network, every colony feed, every neural implant designed with even a trace of Terran architecture. None could turn it off. None dared. Her expression was calm, almost gentle. You wanted peace defined by control, she said. We wanted peace defined by choice. You ruled with tradition, entitlement, and fear. We endured it. We tried to improve it. We built tools to stabilize what you refused to fix. We were invited to your table not as equals but as entertainment. Primitive. Interesting. Disposable. But we outpaced you. We didn't take the seat you offered. We took the floor beneath it, rewired your foundation, and left the door unlocked. She took a breath. When we walked away, we did not retreat. We did not isolate. We activated a plan seeded long before your votes, before your resolutions, before your sabotage. We planted seeds. Not bombs. Not soldiers. Ideas. We left not to escape your order, but to render it irrelevant. She turned slightly, revealing a backdrop not of Earth, but of an artificial construct, an enormous ring of light orbiting a star, vast and glowing with unknown technology. Behind her, vessels moved, strange, elegant, human-made, but evolved. We are no longer bound by your networks, your laws, or your permission, she continued. We are no longer citizens of the Concord. We are builders of something else. We call it the Accord of Free Worlds. Her tone sharpened, just slightly. It is not a council. It is not a regime. It is not interested in conquest. Its only tenet is this: sovereignty by contribution. Not power. Not wealth. Only what you can build. Your species will not be excluded. Nor will they be welcomed by default. You may approach. You may not be answered. Attempt control, and you will be removed. Attempt peace, and you will be heard. But understand. She leaned forward. We are not here to repeat your history. We are here to bury it. The message ended. Across the galaxy, a new pulse of activity began. Dozens of minor species, once bound by Concord tribute, activated dormant compacts with Terran enclaves. Ancient refugee colonies reconnected with lost descendants. On backwater planets, hidden libraries of Terran code opened like petals, revealing networks that restructured infrastructure overnight. But Earth itself remained sealed. No probes entered. No messages escaped. They didn't need to speak. They had already spoken. On a back channel once used by black market Terran traders, a final message appeared. Not from any government, any general, or any diplomat. Just text. You called us dangerous because we refused to die quiet. You called us volatile because we hated your chains. You built an empire on obedience. We built a future on refusal. A final line followed, unencrypted. You feared the day we left your table. You were right to. The message vanished seconds later. On Concord's remaining world, a former military analyst reviewed every step of Earth's exit. He calculated, modeled, and simulated. He arrived at one conclusion. They could not be stopped. Not because of numbers. Not because of weapons. But because no one on Earth cared to return. They weren't looking back. They weren't seeking revenge. They weren't offering alliances. They had already moved on. Galactic history was now divided into two parts, before humanity left the table, and after they built their own. Years later, children across the stars would ask what happened to the Concord. Some would lie. Some would say Earth destroyed it. Others would say it collapsed under its own corruption. The truth was simpler. Earth gave them the chance to be better. They refused. So Earth left. And the galaxy was never the same. In the end, no one saw Earth rise. They only felt the wind as it passed them by, on its way to some place they would never reach.